Alan, Potsy, how the heck are you guys?
Doing good, man. I'm still wondering, like, who wants to hear me talk for 15 minutes? Like I just said, I hope I can.
That's great.
Yeah, okay. We'll an audience of one. And that's worth it. If you can change one life,
Yay. All right. Congratulations on Motor City here. It feels like someone lost this like dirty Detroit 70s revenge movie in the trunk of a burned out Cadillac and just restored it to 4K and Dolby Atmos and like shook my theater room here. It was such a good
Well
time.
said, man. That's high praise.
Yep.
Yeah. So just diving in, I mean, Potsy, was there one scene or image where this whole movie kind of suddenly roared to life in your head? Like what sparked it? And Alan, what was his, pitch that made you want to jump in before someone else kind of took the wheel?
Well, the image, my DP and I poured through old 70s photo albums. Like,
Yeah.
we would just tag photos and bring up things. And a lot of there was one that had a lot of images of real life street corners and real life, just a day in life in Detroit. And we actually, the scene where he's driving in the beginning, he's driving around the block. Some of those setups with like the bus stop with the people waiting and the trash bags with the guys standing on the corner. Some of those are very close to the actual reference photo. We just tried to recreate some similar scenes throughout that. So it's really just feeling that world and feeling just sort of that, just the thickness of it and the filth and the grime and wanting to get that on the screen. Alan was on this before me, so
He's very, very modest, so he's not gonna toot his own horn. But Potsy has impeccable taste, like impeccable taste, and everything he done prior always had like a super interesting take on a subject that had maybe been dabbled in before, right? And so he can find an interesting way into character in a story that most people miss. He's photographically got an amazing eye. He creates beautiful imagery and it knows how to get real performances, right? So I mean, I'd seen all that. And when talking to him about coming onto this, you could tell the ideas were germinating for like this, bringing to life the same kind of thing. It felt like an exciting partnership. And then I get on set with him and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, this guy's a fucking genius. Like he's a genius. Like he's coming up with ideas that were not on the page. Transitions between scenes where he's like, so I just need you here because I'm going to shoot this thing before you where there's a mural on the wall of a lion and your hair's grown out and you've changed and time has passed and we're not expecting it. And so I'll bleed into your image I'm like, dude, I just would have been a hard, just jump cut me through this movie.
very.
And so it was a pleasure, all of his ideas. I was like, damn, I like working with this guy. But for me, it was like, because it's essentially a revenge story, this heartbreaking love triangle that, my character is trying to, is trying to win, his angle on that. And, it becomes an action movie.
Yeah.
And I really, so for me, I put a lot of work into trying to make sure that we were elevating those action scenes, the elevator, the car fight, all those opportunities to like really do something new and fresh and violent and, that did really exemplify the stakes, this like the life and death nature, the kamikaze kind of nature that Miller eventually adopts, where he's like, at some point, I know I'm not even going to win. I'd rather just die trying,
Yeah.
to get to get justice. And that's a cool story to tell. And so for me, it really came to life like when we my partner in fight design on this was Ryan Terran, and we wrote, like, sort of spelled out beat for beat what we wanted those scenes to look like. And so what was in the script was sort of like a paragraph of like they bite, scratch, claw in the elevator, and we expanded that out to like 4 pages of like really
Yeah.
specific fight moves. And then we would work, sort of compress that down and distill it down into what we had time.
At one point,
and space.
it was a 120-story building that we had to go up.
Yeah.
Not really. That's how long the elevator ride was.
The elevator ride would have been 15 minutes,
But we,
but so
You're in the
then,
Burj Khalifa.
yeah, exactly. That's the fight that we wanted. And there's a version of that on the cutting room floor somewhere. So it was just about like, how do we tighten that down? But the emphasis paid to the artistry in that world was a lot of fun. And I felt like really, was a lively character in the story that we wanted to, see come to life.
So
for me, that was a lot of fun.
So the no dialogue thing, was that always part of the idea, or did that kind of morph?
From the get-go. So
Right.
Greg Silverman, who was the president of Warner Brothers at the time, had the idea, the crazy idea, to create a shared universal experience with no language barrier for anybody around the world. And he called Chad St. John and he's like, so I got this idea. I don't know what we would make a movie about, but what if we create a movie with no dialogue? So everybody can watch and experience the same emotional journey. And Chad's like, great, I'll
Kill the script.
how about Motor City?
Yeah.
And what a genius, I mean, way to package that idea. And this script had been around for 15 years in Hollywood. It was on the blacklist its first year, which is where scripts that are sort of the best scripts in town, but some for some reason or another didn't get made, they're put on this list so that people can take a look at it and go like, oh, okay, maybe there is a way for me to make it. Maybe we can get it made over here. These scripts deserve respect. They deserve to be seen. It had taken quite a journey. It had been through the hands of every leading man and every big director for years and years and years. But for some, it's just very difficult. It truly is a meeting point at the intersection of art and commerce. It's a very commercial film that feels very independent and artistic, and it's an exploration in something unusual, which I think maybe we're at the right, we're coming at it at the right time. I think audiences are really ready for something this stylish and unique. They keep rewarding films at the box office that take shots like this that are original and
new.
And it's fresh, and he absolutely killed it. Directing this thing. And the performances are amazing. I mean, there's no reason why audiences in mass around the world can't enjoy this film. And so we feel lucky to be the ones to help bring it to life, because it's deserving of being seen.
And the fact that it was around for 15, 18 years, there was some stress. I don't know if you felt it, but everyone has read this script, and in Hollywood, every actor has been attached to the script, and like filmmakers have gone down the road where, I mean, they were about to start. They were into prep on one and it got canceled. So everyone had this movie in their mind. So making a movie that everyone's already made in their brain, it's going to be different than what they imagined. So part of that was, you have to make something incredible if it's going to be different than what they.
How do you beat and exceed expectations for a script that's like come to life in everybody's mind in Hollywood too, and deliver for audiences that haven't yet had the joy of reading this script, so there's a burden there to get it right. But it feels like it's there.
It's great. It's universal enough for everybody to really grasp onto as well. And it's harkening back. I was just watching a documentary on the films of the 1975, and it's the great revenge films of the 70s were born out of frustration and distrust and, feeling that the system had failed ordinary people. Even though Motor City is set in that era, did you feel like you were tapping into something that's kind of become strangely kind of relevant again?
Look, I think there's a couple themes in this thing. The institution versus the individual, corruption, authoritarianism, that we are living. Unfortunately, we're revisiting the cyclical kind of nature of our, the worst of our humanity. And so, it feels like eerily relevant to what we're all sort of watching happen right now. And
class system too, the haves and the haves not.
Totally.
Versus, he's exceeding illegally, but Reynolds has everything and has everything he wants, everything he could possibly give to this girl. He's Alan's character is the working class man, and it is but there's a draw to that. There's a safety and a comfort and an honesty
and the simplicity of life. And so there's something, there's something cathartic, I think, to see this exaggerated or hyperbolic version of a character, which is really like our own frustration come to life with the system, with the way things are, with the injustice of the world. And what if this frustration that we have could come to life and just kick the shit out of everybody who's fucked it over? That is Miller, right? That's this character. And so there's something really, I think, why audiences that have seen this have really enjoyed it. Is it Venice and Toronto, film festivals, audiences seem to really enjoy it. But it's giving voice to the frustration that many of us have. And to your point, yes, I think there's something cathartic about this and a lot for audiences to enjoy a healthy outlet.
I think it's kind of safe to say that you hadn't done anything like this before, either of you. So Was there a moment in production or even post-production? Because I mean, where you're like, the language is working here. We're doing it without dialogue and it's coming across, or do you not know that until like the third edit, the rough cut, you know?
No, I mean, to me, there was, in reading the script, there were two scenes that stuck out. I was like, man, everything else, the way Chad St. John wrote this movie, everything worked. He described it perfectly. It was just such a well built world and structure of how to do this without dialogue. But there were two scenes that sort of stuck out. I was like, man, I don't know how we're getting past these scenes because without saying something. One of them was the cafe scene with Shailene's character. When Ben McKenzie comes in and hands her the ring, and you're like, how are they going to have this conversation and we don't hear it? And while we're trying to play with this and looking at locations, and that's where the idea of the piano player at this kind of fancy bar, and as you come back, you're in it from the piano player's perspective of this couple of these two people fighting and seeing it happen in the background, but you get it, you understand every word that they're saying. You know the emotions, and I think part of the fun of the movie is if I go see this with my wife, we're going to leave the movie and I think we both had a slightly different experience in the movie. That's conversations for the car ride home, which is half the fun.
That's
She's like, that
part
was
of it.
so romantic. He's like, that was so violent. I loved it.
The elevator was incredible.
Speaking of the piano player, I'm a huge Jack White fan.
Yeah.
So I obviously was delighted by that cameo, but he's also like your music director here. He's an executive producer. Apparently he's kind of like a Detroit Sherpa almost, like authenticity wise. What did Jack actually bring to the movie, both musically and just helping you understand the personality of the city?
Jack, he grew up in Detroit. He knows all the the flow of the music and the progression of all the Detroit music and where it was at the time. And we made a really hard point to not put anything over like 1977, even though there is one song that is right on the cusp there that we kind of let squeeze because it's incredible. But he was super helpful in just all things Detroit. I mean, really giving us a look at what was authentic and what would make this real. And he's got incredible music taste, and him with our editor Joe Galdo and our composer just sort of built this world that we think really gives a true Detroit feel, even though we didn't shoot. Unfortunately, we didn't shoot in Detroit. We would have loved to, but everybody chases that tax incentive. But yeah, I think it was great to have that voice and that just that partner in the movie that can really speak to that part of it.
Yeah, they're going to wrap me soon, so I'm going to touch on a couple other projects. Potsy, I was just watching Old Henry again because Netflix, it's on fire on Netflix.
Yeah,
like it's been in like the top 5 for the past week or two. Yeah. What do you make of like this out of nowhere popularity of the old Western?
And it's funny, when we released Old Henry during COVID, it stayed on the VOD charts for like 3 months. Obama, it was his top 10 movie of the year. It had this weird following. Everybody just sort of, because it is such a simple story.
Yeah.
But it's but the characters are so rich and they just tell such a the old West was such a romantic time, and there's romantic tales of that time. And I don't know, I think it is weird to see it resurface now and on Netflix and finding an audience again that maybe didn't see it the first time around. So it's been amazing. I wake up every morning, I check my Netflix app to see if we're still in the top 10.
Still making it.
We're number 2 today.
Alan, I'm just getting the new Reacher episodes, and Neagly is coming shortly after. So, I mean, last season you had that enormous episode-long war with like Paulie, I believe his name was, the character. Yeah. When you've already pushed the physical side of that show that far, what does bigger even mean?
Where do you go from there?
Yeah, where do you go from there?
Drama. This is a firing squad. You just line them up in front of a firing squad. That was my concern. I felt like we executed season 3 really well, and it culminated into a pretty hard to top finale. and you know, somebody who's outmatched and outsized, you know, it's just how do you who do you fight next, you know? I will say I think season 4 is our best season yet.
Ooh.
Comes out August 12th. I think we hit our stride. I think there's a lot of things we're doing cinematically that are you know, that elevate the show. But also the story, it's so unexpected kind of what happens, and what he's up against is it's so much more dangerous in a way that you would never expect. That I actually have a photograph. I wish I could just show you a photograph of my last day on set. Carrie would be like an understatement. What is the most bloody you've ever seen? Like, it's no, you've never seen this much blood in your life. It's going to be super satisfying, I think, for audiences.
Oh man, I can't wait.
Yeah,
I
we
can't
found, I
wait,
think we
man.
found a way to you know, well, maybe we're not topping ourselves, but like, you know, there's a way to make it different. And
Furthering
that,
it,
you know,
yeah,
and
deepening it.
I think we did a great job.
Amazing. They're gonna pull me out of here. If I could just do one more question, Potsy. At one point, you were reportedly writing and developing a Goonies sequel. I don't know if this is true. Is that definitely dead? And what was your like short pitch for that?
Man, so there was I can't talk about Fight Club. I did this once and I said one thing and it turned into a fiasco. So I can't I can't I can't talk about Fight Club.
I get it, man. That's why I threw it in at the end there. I knew you probably couldn't. But I'll just say Motor City hits theaters on July 24th. It is so freaking good. You guys did an amazing job. I want like Motor City
Thanks for sharing with
84.
your audience. Hope the entire world shows up for this. It's a film that deserves to be seen with that shared experience in theaters. Hopefully people enjoy.
A freaking men. All right. Have a good day,
Thank
guys.
you.